really focused. Yes, we are recording, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But these monthly career events are really focused on being able to support you in career development and landing a job and helping you with your current status of unemployment or going through looking for a new career, helping people with coaches. And so these are coaching and content heavy sessions. And then we also have events every month that are very focused on jobs and hiring companies. And a lot of them are done by industry. And we have one coming up in 2 weeks, which I'll also talk about in a little bit. And so this event is being recorded and live streamed. So if you want to go back and review any of the content or get some of the information, then you can go back and look at this anytime. We have it posted on our website, usually by the next morning. And it's also being live streamed. And so if you have somebody that wants to catch this call, they can catch it out on our Facebook live stream as well. All right. And so if you have questions, I encourage you to stay engaged in the chat today. Many of you are already on the chat and commenting for us. And so keep doing that. Keep any questions you have, we'll try to answer. Either Brenda or Anna, as they're speaking, they'll either address it during the talk, or I'll ask the question at a breaking point, or they will answer it in the chat when they're done talking. And so drop your questions in here, have conversation. The more that you engage, typically the content stays relevant and stays, you remember it much better. So stay engaged during the whole call. You can also see there's different ways to view this call, and the way that we recommend is called speaker view. And so if you go up to your icon in the top right that says view, there's a little drop down, you click on view, there's a side-by-side speaker view. If you do that, you'll see the presentation that we have for you, and you'll also see this person that is speaking. And so that tends to be the best view. Also, on your name, you can rename your screen name. We love if you have your name as the screen name. You can also put your job type in there if you would like, but make sure you have your name so we know when we're chatting with you who we're talking to. And then don't forget, especially if this is your first time, at the end of the call today, then you will be able to engage with our speakers. You will be able to do coaching with our resume writers, our LinkedIn coaches, our career coaches, our interview coaches, finance coaches, and more, and have those chats. Maybe you need a little help on your resume or some guidance on your LinkedIn profile. You will be able to go into different rooms and virtual rooms and talk to these folks. And so I encourage you to stay on through the end. Woo! I don't know, someone's not muted, but so I encourage you to go ahead and stay for our breakout sessions. All right, so the agenda today, we are going to have Brenda Cunningham here. Oh, I missed the closed captioning. I'm so sorry. Bree, go ahead and go back to that. If you need to utilize closed captioning, there is an icon that's active and live at the bottom that says live transcript. Please go ahead and click on that, and you will see the transcription today as the call is happening. So click on the closed captioning and you'll have that available to you. Okay, now the agenda. Brenda Cunningham is here, and she is just the perfect person for this topic: career options that welcome age, race, gender, and diversity, and gender diversity. She's going to talk about all of those components. So often people tell us, you know, I'm stuck. I'm not getting interviews because I'm too old, or I'm not getting interviews because I'm too young, or I don't have a degree, or I am the wrong race, or whatever. She's going to address those today and talk about how to get over some of those things that are realities for many of us. And then Anna Brambilla is going to talk about career options that welcome diversity. And then we're going to go into the breakout session. And so our event will be over around 11:30 or so. For the breakout sessions, we leave about an hour. And so that is an hour of time for you to jump around and talk to the different speakers. All right, I'm so excited for you guys to, before we introduce Brenda, just one more time for the new people that have just jumped on. Over in the chat, we encourage you to drop in your name, where you're calling in from, and the industry or job that you are interested in. And then keep that chat going today. You can drop questions in there. You can direct message anybody you would like. I encourage you to network with people, whether it's direct messaging or, asking for a follow-up call outside of this event, because we know networking is so, so important. Okay, so I would like to introduce my dear friend, Brenda Cunningham. Whether seeking upward mobility on the corporate ladder or affected by a layoff, Brenda believes in providing practical, step-by-step guidance to navigate today's career marketplace. An author, an encouraging force, Brenda is known for helping individuals regain confidence in themselves when faced with job change. When workforce reductions are the only choice, her company offers effective outplacement solutions that helps valued staff get back to meaningful work quickly. Brenda is a former engineer and project manager, and previously served as the president of the Resume Writers Council of Arizona, holding credentials in professional resume writing, job search strategy, and career management. That is her official bio, but my unofficial bio is that she's an amazing woman. She will help you get moving forward if you're feeling stuck. She's a dear friend, and we are so honored to have you, Brenda. Please help me welcome Brenda Cunningham.
Oh my God, I love you so much. I love Career Connectors. I love everything that you guys are doing. I have been a huge supporter for, over a decade, because I believe in what you're doing. And so keep fighting the good fight, y'all. You're doing some really excellent work. I'm going to start with a little bit of a story, everybody. And so journey with me, if you will. Once upon a time, there was a man who was in his 70s, and he attended an event where I provided some resume review guidance. Fast forward, I spoke with that same gentleman several weeks later. The resume looked exactly like the first iteration. None of the feedback was incorporated into the resume. And he approached me and said, I'm having trouble getting interviews and landing a job, and nobody is hiring me because of my age. And so the frustration set in with this individual. And let's think about the next thing he did. He said, hey, Brenda, are you hiring? And by the way, what does your company do? And so I dare challenge you to think today that it often has so little to do with your age, your gender, your whatever you want to fill in that blank with. And it has so much more to do with your approach, with your marketing, and your ability to receive feedback. And so you can look at this, I'm not going to read it. It is not always your fill in the blank thing that you think it is. It generally is your marketing. And so let's really explore that today, right? Can you imagine if that individual had actually taken the time to learn something about my company and what we do, as opposed to asking me what we do in the process of asking for a job, right? That doesn't sit well with you. And yes, I don't have it on speaker view. I have it on, I want to see everybody's faces view, because I want to see when you react to me today. We're going to interact with each other today. And so please make some faces, laugh a little, have some fun with me as we journey together. All right. Okay, so here we go. Listen to me. The only way I know how to deliver this content is by being very personal, very transparent, very vulnerable. So you're going to learn some things about Brenda today that maybe you didn't intend to learn. And we're going to have fun with it. So if you couldn't tell, I'm Black. I'm a woman. I have natural hair. It's very bouncy today. I braided it. You can't tell. It's very curly. I'm a Christian. I'm over 40. I'm not going to say how much over 40, but I am over 40. And here I am talking to you, really branded as a careers expert, and yet I have no degree in career management. And so look at the picture. It says obstacles don't have to stop you. Figure it out, figure out a way, climb, push, crawl, right? Fight for that thing, because I will let you in on a little secret. Discrimination is real. It does exist, right? It's illegal, and yet it happens every day. What a shame. And so with all of these things potentially working against me, how in the world is it that I'm successful anyhow? And so we're going to talk about bias and how it shows up in all of these different forms. But I want to acknowledge another truth first. Job search is so much harder than it needs to be. I am a part of today's job search system, but I am not a fan of today's job search system. I believe it's overly complicated. I believe that we have automated the humanity out of it. There are folks who are so desperate that they might need to come to me as a professional resume writer and invest dollars, because it's that hard to be seen if your resume isn't just right. They don't understand this process of uploading a resume and then still having to type the same information again, and video interviews and 7-step interviews and virtual interviews and all of these pieces only to be ghosted anyway. Am I preaching? Am I speaking and connecting with somebody? Thank you for the couple of head nods I see. This is hard. It's hard. It's frustrating. It's mentally taxing. It's emotionally and physically just depleting. I'm tired just talking about it. You know, it's a lot. I told you I was going to get personal. And this subject to me, and those who I coach with, they know I've drawn a lot of parallels to my new life. So as a recently divorced woman, I am now exploring the dating game. Oh my Jesus. And being new to dating, I draw a lot of parallel to the job search process, right? There's so many unknowns, so many different things that you're battling against rejection, right? And setting up profiles, and you don't know, did I set up the profile right? Am I using the right language? Did I include the right pictures? Did I do this? Why aren't they calling me back? What's going on? There are so many parallels there that it can really start to weigh on your mind. And you might come to the conclusion that there's something wrong with you. That might be the conclusion that you draw. And I want to truly encourage you today. These systems are designed to be, I don't know if they meant it to be that way, but they are so much harder than they need to be. There is nothing wrong with you. I had a good friend of mine write a very encouraging message on my mirror. She vandalized my mirror, y'all. I love her, but she did vandalize my mirror. And I let it stay up there for many, many months. I just took it down. It took a really long time for me to believe what she had written. And I'll tell you what she wrote. It was simply, I am enough. I am enough. Because I didn't necessarily believe that after the trauma of a divorce, that I was enough. I've also been laid off. That was the very first time I battled with depression. And it took many, many months to fight my way through it. And so what I need you to understand is that it's already hard because you're battling against yourself first. And then on top of everything, you're dealing with a super overly complicated job search system. So I need you to give yourselves a little bit more grace than you probably have been giving. Can we start there? Where are my head nods? I'm not seeing them. Okay, thank you. I need y'all. Give yourselves grace upon grace upon grace, because this is hard, and it's even harder when you got mental wars waging up here. And then on top of everything, we're going to add bias to the equation. Whew, I can't even breathe. It's so much, it's so heavy. And yet we have some things that we can do to fight through this thing. Okay, so if anybody's chatting with me, just know I'll check the chat kind of toward the end. I'll get all out of my flow if I have to check chat. And this is a different kind of conversation today, right? So this is not me necessarily just looking at some PowerPoints. We'll be doing some storytelling too. All right. And so I want to start with a conversation. We're going to talk today about a couple different types of biases or discrimination that exist in different areas of our career. Do not be deceived that the ones that we're talking about today are the only ones that exist. These are just the big ones that we'll talk about for now. And one of the things that I see is folks, nobody will give me a chance because I don't have a degree, right? And so nobody give me a chance because I don't have a degree. So let me tell you another little quick story. So when we logged in this morning, Joey, you'd asked me how old is my daughter, but I have a son and he's 18. And he came to me after one semester at community college. And he said, "Mommy, I don't think college is for me." Right? And he said that, and he said it very confidently. He said, "I don't want to waste your money. I don't enjoy it." But what he said next changed the game for me. He said, "I already love what I do." If I could ask how many of you love what you do, how many of you could honestly like raise your hand, right? Because look, I see you, Anna, and Anna's got, right? Jessica, of course, the Career Connectors people, we love what we do. But so few people genuinely love the work that they do. Rather, they continue to do the work that they do because it has become such a core part of their identity, and it is a part of their routine. It's not that you love it, it's just that you're used to doing it. And so when he told me that, it shifted my whole mindset, and it started me to think about how many times I see people that go through college, spend all of this money, they have all of this student debt, and they end up in a job that they can't even stand. And so it made me open my eyes to the fact that a degree is not always the solution. Have you ever seen a job posting that said, degree or equivalent experience? And do you know how often I will advise a job seeker to go back to school and get a degree? Probably never. Probably never. In lieu of a degree, often I will advocate for professional development. I will advocate for certification, right? I will advocate that people look back into their own experiences, because you've probably already had the right kinds of experiences and you're keeping it all to yourself. You're not even including it on your resume because you don't think it counts. I see that so often. Oh, but I was just a volunteer. Friends, volunteer experience. Did you catch that phrase? Volunteer experience is still experience. And so when you're volunteering in the right areas and you have up-to-date professional development, which might mean webinars, lunch and learns, YouTube University, hello. It might mean those things that aren't even costing you a great deal of time or money. But yet it's you showing that I'm investing in my own profession. I'm investing in my ability to do this work and to continuously get better at doing this work. But I saw a post on social, I think it was on LinkedIn several weeks ago, and it was from a recruiter. And it said how it talked about, I'm going to look at my notes so I don't kind of get it wrong. It said how so many people lean on their transferable skills, especially when they're thinking about like changing a career. They say how so many people lean on their transferable skills alone, but are willing to do the new work to become qualified, right? And so it's like, oh, I shouldn't need to learn this newfangled software. Oh, we never needed to do it that way before. This is not that day. This is not that day. And so instead of saying nobody will give me a chance because I don't have a degree, what we can do is say, how can I obtain the skills that are required for me to be successful in this transition? Right. And this is, again, I really want to make sure that you're tuning in, especially for those of you who are changing careers, whole new industries. I saw a couple of you are changing in industries entirely. And so don't just lean on, well, I've got all these great transferable skills. Let's really tap into some of that good hard work ethic. Find a way to pursue professional development opportunities. Now, I'm also an advocate for the Arizona at Work program. They have access, do you know they have access to all kinds of grant funding that can help you get situated? I don't know if anybody's here from Arizona at Work. Please plug in that information. I think it's just AZ at Work or ArizonaAtWork.com or something like that. Come on, we're just knocking out excuses after excuses, right? There are development opportunities, certification, training, all of these things that we can do. And no, I did not at any point say a degree was required. Okay. But it is your job to make sure that those things show up in your LinkedIn profiles, in your resume. Stop being the world's best kept secrets. That's what we do when we keep it to ourselves. Oh, it doesn't count because I didn't finish it. Who said? I started a master's degree. I didn't finish it. You'll still find it on my LinkedIn profile. You'll still find it on my resume because I know how to outsmart these overly complicated job search systems. I was about to say a different word. I caught myself. I know how to outsmart these systems. They're looking for keywords like master's degree, MBA, they're looking for that. And so if I started it but didn't finish it, I still wanted to find that word on my resume. I'm going to tell the truth because I'm an ethical person. And so I'm going to do things like in parentheses, say some coursework completed. Are you doing that today? Are you showcasing degrees that you perhaps did start but did not complete? But if you got halfway through, my friend, you did learn something. Let's start to get some credit. Let's start to be a bit more strategic about what we're doing in our job searches today. Okay. I love y'all. Here we go. What's next? Whew. It's hard stuff, right? This is hard stuff. And so we gotta face these hard things head on. We don't play. You have to be brave when you're entering as a, let's say, a female into a traditionally male dominated space. That requires courage. It requires courage. I saw a quote actually just this morning, and it says, one of the most courageous things you can do is identify yourself. Know who you are, what you believe in, and where you want to go. That's from Sheila Murray Bethel. I've never heard of Sheila Murray Bethel, but I saw that quote and I was like, that fits what we're talking about right now. It's hard. I am a former engineer. You know how many females were in my graduating class at Rochester Institute of Technology? Out of, I don't know, maybe 60, there might have been 5. And that was kind of good. Those are high numbers. And then I go to work as an engineer, and I'm a breadwinner for my household, and I don't have a stay-at-home wife like many of my male counterparts. And so it's hard for me to have to explain why at 4:30 I need to leave because I've got to go pick up kids from daycare and my commute is an hour and a half. It's hard for me to do that. Did you know that there was a penalty against mothers? There's a motherhood penalty, a mom tax, if you will. This is not make believe, but at the same time, should anybody really know that I'm a mother when I'm interviewing for a job? How could they even know that unless I told them? And so we get to the place of needing to understand that not all parts of your life are public domain. If you choose to share your sexual orientation, that is completely your business, but it is not necessary to do so. Does it have any bearing on your ability to do your job? And if it does not, there is no value in you sharing it with me. If you want to share it just because you're part of the diversity group or what have you, that's fine. But as far as the application, the interview, the job search process, this is not necessarily relevant to your candidacy, to your ability to do a specific function. And so I get it. We're loud and we're proud and all of these things. Do you people? We are all grown-ups here, but are you looking for a job? Focus. Who you are in the bed with is none of nobody's business. And it has no bearing whatsoever on your ability to do the job. But if you make it the focus, if you put it front and center, you have got me off of focusing on your skills and thinking about other maybe political factors. Come on, let's not pretend that politics is not a main part of everyday conversation, especially now. Okay. I'm so tempted to look at this chat, y'all. I'm so tempted. Because I see it blowing up, but I don't know what it says, okay? So listen, it's okay if you get a little bothered or angry by some of the things that we're saying today, because I'm not here to talk to you about how the job search system ought to be. I'm here to talk to you about how it actually is. And so if we're going to fight, we're going to fight to win. We're going to play the game strategically. We're going to do this thing right. Once we're in the inside now, Okay, we can do some things. We can make some change from within. The conversation today is really centered around making sure we get in the door in the first place. All right. This is a hard one, right? Gender, sexual orientation. This is a really hard one. You know what else is hard? You know what I can't change? It's the color of my skin. Can't do it. Don't want to do it, but I couldn't if I tried. It is what it is. Now it says stop pulling the race card every time, and I believe that. But I believe the race card is relevant a lot of the time. It is true. It is racial discrimination. It happens. There's evidence of individuals submitting a resume with an ethnic sounding name, submitting the exact same resume with a more Anglo sounding name. And guess which ones get the calls back? I will remind everybody, bias, again, it is real. When we're talking about race, can you imagine that just in the last handful of years, legislation has been passed around something called the Crown Act? This is a new law that essentially says employers are not allowed to discriminate on the basis of how my hair grows out of my scalp. Why did we have to make a law to remind people that it was okay to look different? Okay, so this little graphic, don't you can read it if you like. I thought it was just cute and very telling about some of the invisible bias that exists. It's a lot of invisibility. Again, avoiding certain candidates because of a name, age showing up in disguise, calling it overqualified. So there's a lot of invisible factors that are going on. Telling for, oh, you don't have to be so sensitive. There is a lot going on with regards to racial discrimination. And one, I want to make you aware of it. Not for you to be afraid, but for you to recognize it when it's happening. There are employment lawyers that exist for a reason. Okay, these things are real. Bias is real. But we don't have to rely on the race card. And a lot of times your race end up being a benefit to you. A lot of organizations have diversity quotas. Look, I don't love it. Again, I'm not here to tell you how things ought to be. I'm here to tell you how they are. Someday we'll all work together and change the system. And until that day comes, we're going to learn how to strategically operate within the system. But if they've got quotas, darn it, don't be afraid of them. This is hard. Y'all with me? Let everybody take a deep breath because it's some heavy, some heavy stuff. Here's a big one. Age. This one I have seen surfaces more often than all the rest. So I kind of saved this one for the grand finale of discrimination. Right? Of course, this is the plan, and then we recognize how difficult everything is. Again, this is our ideal world of how things ought to be, and this is the reality. I saw earlier, I had asked a question. I said, if anybody was facing discrimination or what have you, comment to me. A few folks did reach out to me privately. I saw one person that actually said that they are being asked in their interviews if they were over 40. Yeah, that was exactly my response. Like, I almost couldn't breathe. What the actual heck? That is illegal on every level. Every single level. And so please, first and foremost, recognize that there are off limits questions pertaining to your age, your religious beliefs, your ethnicity. I can't, seriously, I can't breathe. Do you have children? Where's your accent from? These are off limits. Are you married? Off limits. Because again, I ask, what is the relevance? Okay. Oh, I see somebody. I just so happen to see this come up in the chat. What do you do when it happens? I'm so glad you asked. I'll tell you what I did when it happened. When it happened to me, when I was wearing an engagement ring, interviewing at a major corporation, and I was asked, what did my fiance think about me taking this job and this possible relocation? It was an off limits question. It had no relevancy to my ability to do the work. I did feel offended. Like, we are not in the 50s where I need to ask my husband permission. We're not there. So what did I do? I told the individual right there in the moment, because of who I am. Not everybody's going to have that same kind of boldness, and that's okay. But because of who I am, I told them right in the moment, I didn't feel like that was a relevant question, and I would rather focus on my contributions in this interview. I later followed up with HR to let them know I felt very uncomfortable with the question. They actually spoke with, and I don't know if I want to say reprimanded, but spoke with and maybe corrected the individual. So because my goal was that it didn't happen again, my goal was not to get the person fired, but to train them, educate them, and make sure it didn't happen again to somebody else who may have been less likely to speak up. Okay, so I did speak up in the moment and with HR. You may, I would encourage you to say, if it's all the same, I would rather focus on what I can bring to the table. And you can just redirect that question back. You do not have to answer it. And if you find that you couldn't avoid it, couldn't get out of the situation, go ahead and answer the question and just talk to HR after the fact, because it is going to be a necessary training opportunity for that person who clearly has no idea. Okay. And so thank you. I just kind of happened to see that come across the bottom of my screen so that I could address it in real time. I appreciate the question. And so while asking about things like age is illegal, more often than not, we're giving this information away. We are giving it away. And you're doing it, we're going to talk about this page in just a moment, but we're doing it in ways that many of us don't fully understand. When you all were introducing yourselves in the chat at the beginning of our conversation today, I was paying attention. Somebody said they were retiring from, I don't know, community college or something you were retiring from. And okay. But if you put in your resume, I'm retired from such and so, how old do you think people think you are? And if we're concerned about being a victim of age discrimination, stop telling people your age. I hope you hear me with love, with loving intention. But we do it and we don't always realize that we're doing it, because we say things like 35 years of experience, seasoned professional, retired veteran, something. We're using all of the language that indicates I'm at least 60 years old. And then we say, woe is me, resume black hole, nobody's giving me a chance because I'm over 55. That's what we're doing. And we're putting ourselves through this vicious, ugly cycle. Then how do you show your experience? That's all I see right now. How do you show it if not to talk about the full scope of the 35 years? Why not say something like 15 plus? Because guess how many years that encompasses? All of them. If you worked for 35 years, 15 plus accounts for that. If you worked for 16 years, 15 plus accounts for that. And generally speaking, when you're pursuing senior level, higher level positions, then we are going to be looking for, 10 to 15 years of experience in a particular area. Now, hold on. Somebody said something about writers. Why do resume writers tell you to use that? Yeah, I was going to say, oh, thank you, Donna. I'm so glad that you're here. It says, why do resume writers tell you to use that language? And Donna Tucker says, not good resume writers, because I'm like, that's not something that I would have suggested. So thank you, Donna. I'm glad that you are here and at the helm, because we're in very good hands. Okay. Ugh, okay, I told you I can't do this chat because I'll get all out of sorts. But this is, what else are we doing that's indicative of your age? And y'all, some of y'all have heard me say this, but I'm going to repeat it for the benefit of anybody that may be new. If you are still functioning with an @AOL.com email address, dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. It doesn't matter what the address is. If it ends in @AOL.com, it's a clear indicator that you are out of date. You may be tech limited, because these are the stigmas. This is why age discrimination exists. There are these beliefs that you have outdated skills, you have not kept up with technology, you're too set in your ways, and you're going to be one of these people like, we've never needed to do it that way. You're maybe not very motivated because you're near retirement, that you expect to be overpaid. And the true hallmark for age discrimination, a true code word, is overqualified. Sometimes you can legitimately be overqualified. Other times it's an easy out. Okay. There are some things you're just going to be overqualified to do at any age. I don't really care what. But for the most part, if that's the feedback that you're getting, but you have to think about this. Are you applying for a very junior position and you have been at a very senior level, and your resume paints this very senior executive presence, and I've been doing this for all of these years, and I've led teams of this, and I've run budgets of billions of dollars, and now I'm applying for a junior level, entry level, something position. You are legit overqualified. You have to change the narrative of your resume to show I'm pursuing this now. Yeah, I used to do some other stuff back in the past. Right now, I want to paint a picture that this is what I'm looking for. You're going to have to use tools like a cover letter, like narrative talk in your LinkedIn profile. You have to maybe tell a story, a different story of why you're looking to make a shift, and not just expect that people understand, oh, well, okay, you're in the sunset portion of your career, you're looking to kind of tone it down a little bit. They're not going to make that leap for you. You have to make sure to express it to them. This is hard. This is very hard. And so, again, things like 35 years of experience, even secret things that you probably didn't think about, including your year of graduation. Oops. Oops, graduated in 1978. How old do you think you are? Stop telling them. Okay. All right. Okay, y'all with me? I see a couple of people making some good reactions, so excellent. Keep it up. Keep letting me know if I'm hitting nerves, because I like it. I like it a lot. So what can we do about it? What can we do? Well, a couple of things is I'm gonna skip this. Oops, hold on. I did that. Oops, sorry. Don't look. Close your eyes. I hit my mouse. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna skip this first one for a second. I'm going to talk about participating in social media. There are a lot of folks that I talk to, particularly folks who feel like they have been victimized by age discrimination, who are like, I'm not getting involved in this newfangled social media like this. This is a mistake. And so as part of the Resume Writers Council of Arizona, we have our annual HR forum. And we talk to the people who hire. We talk directly to the hiring community. We talk to the recruiters. We talk to the HR managers. We talk to the talent acquisition people. And do you know what they say across the board without fail? Is we expect you to be on LinkedIn. We expect it. There is a basic expectation that you be there. And so for you to say, I'm not going to go there, then you, my friend, are missing out on the very opportunity to be found by the people who need to hire you. Okay. And so again, if you choose to avoid it, that is your choice as an adult. But if you want to be successful and accelerate your job search, then these are the components that you need to really, really consider. Keeping your skills current. We talked about this a little bit earlier, professional development. It's not always thousands of dollars in training courses and certifications. It's not always so deep. And it's certainly very rarely, if ever, going back to four-year university. And yet there are so many opportunities to pursue training. Again, YouTube University, that's what I call it. You know how much YouTube University costs? Zero. It's free. So if you said, I can't afford professional development, then we just knocked that right off the table. Keep your skills current. And if it does cost money, talk to the good people at Arizona at Work. See if you qualify for some of those grants. Okay. And again, let's please, Jesus, not use the R word, retirement, or the S word, seasoned. Okay. These are just kind of dead giveaway words. And we want to be really super careful here. Okay. Now, this is not our resume content today, but on your resume, if your content simply says things like, I answered phones, that's not worth a whole lot to many employers. And so I'm just going to say very briefly, make sure that your resume content is stronger than that, than just a basic set of job duties. Make sure that there is an aspect of I've achieved something bigger and broader, because when you can help me to understand why you are worth $100,000 or $50,000 or whatever the salary that you're pursuing, when you can provide me with specific examples of times when you increase sales 300%, or you were the top top three in your company for, you know, customer satisfaction or whatever the case may be. You know, you saved money, you made money, you saved time, all of these things that were wonderful, and yet you choose to tell me you answered phones. Again, my friends, it has so often, it has little to do with your age and more to do with your marketing. If you have told me why you are worth this level of income, I am more likely to take a look at you as a serious candidate. And so that brings us to this point, which is simply be excellent. Be excellent at what you do. Be so good at what you do that they can't even deny you. I'm gonna move on, but only because time is making me have to move on. I could probably rest here for a good while. Okay. Just want to kind of give you a quick 1, 2, 3, 4 formula of how we can get some of the right kinds of interviews. Look, I don't want you to just get any old interview. I don't want you to just get any old job. I want you to get the interview for the job. And so how do we do that? We make sure that the resume is effective. And when I say things like making sure it's ATS compliant, if you don't know what that means, come talk to me. Talk to the resume writers. Donna's here, right? When you go to the breakout rooms, ask these questions. You have to know this stuff. And I don't have time to teach it right now. But when I say it, when I talk about keywords and ATS compatibility, if you don't know what that means, ask an expert. A compelling LinkedIn profile. That does not just mean I created an account and I set it and I forget it. That means I created a actual compelling narrative within my profile and I actively engage with people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not just a pretty picture on a website. It's an opportunity for you to actually create and deepen relationships with people so that these individuals know you, trust you, like you enough to actually recommend you for different opportunities. You can reach these people for help when you need to. Clean social media. Listen, friends, this I call the silent killer of your job search, because you have no idea how many employers are seeing your beautiful resume, seeing your amazing LinkedIn profile, but then Googling you and see that you have a potty mouth on Facebook. And they're not going to invite that kind of trouble into their workplace. And so you're busy thinking, they're not giving me a chance because I'm Black. They're not giving me a chance because I'm a woman. They're not giving me a chance because of my age or what have you. And it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your disruptive behavior. And I'm not going to bring that into my harmonious team environment. I'm telling y'all the truth today. Again, I'm not talking to you about how the world ought to work, but this is how it is. I hope you're receiving this in love. And number 4, again, is your skill set in demand? Because if you are out of date and your skill set is out of date, please don't blame it on your age. Don't blame it on your ethnicity. Don't blame it on the lack of degree, because we have already established there are tons and tons of ways to get to the finish line. Okay, let me see how we're doing. Okay. Oh, Jesus. All right. Fast. Never doing it alone. Network, network, network. So listen, we're gonna finish up with this page here. Believe you, if you got to vandalize your mirror, do it. I talked about that earlier. Do that, because if you're already in an emotional deficit, your self-defeating thoughts are working against you. Okay. But got to get some folks advocating for you. We're talking about not doing it by yourself, networking, leveraging the people that you have access to through LinkedIn. actually following up with individuals. What a concept. We should have lunch sometime. How about we schedule it? Okay. And then, and just ask yourself this question, because I believe in data and information. Would you really want to work for somebody that would discriminate against you? Like, really? And so I do say, let them do you a favor, because otherwise they'll hire you and you'll feel the discrimination on the inside and you'll dread every minute of being there. And so my challenge to employers is, if you're looking for, long-term committed people that's going to be there for the long haul, they don't exist. They don't exist. And so stop discriminating against older workers because you think they're going to retire. The average tenure for the average worker is less than 3 years anyway. Older workers want to stick around and finish out the sunset of their careers. So let's start looking at them realistically. Race, to employers, if your instinct is to pass on a candidate because of their name or their hair texture, I challenge you to look at yourself. This is a wake-up call. And then I'll say this in conclusion. Stop having these 20-step applications and interview processes that end up ghosting anyway. Employers, I want you to take notice, because eventually these great people won't want to work for you. And so the title of this program was Career Options That Welcome Change, or that welcome age, race, and gender diversity. And so what are the career options that welcome age, race, and gender diversity? And I say the answer is all of them. Let's do our part to set ourselves up and be in position for these opportunities. I thank you. I know I'm over time, so I'm going to stop talking now, and I'll leave you with these resources. And I hope that you come away today with some new ways of thinking that aren't a crutch to you, but that really do push you forward. Thank you so much.
Brenda, this is like the slow clap and then the fast clap. You're amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to go over a little bit because I have a couple of questions that I am waiting to ask you. The chat was so good today, and I know you'll catch up and get into it, but thank you all for engaging in the chat. First of all, I want to ask you about being overqualified for jobs. I know that you could do a whole talk on this itself. Can you just kind of give a couple tips about, when someone says I'm overqualified, what are some things you do for that?
So for me, and I suspect, Donna may have some thoughts as well. So please chime in through the chat, Donna. But for me, when I see somebody who has like a PhD in this and a master's degree in that, but they're pursuing something that's a lot more junior, and I want to make sure I say this, that a resume is just not simply a listing of everything you've ever done. A resume is strategic. It's a marketing tool. And so I'm not going to include every single thing under the sun. I'm going to include the relevant bits and pieces that say, here's why I'm qualified for this job at this level. Because if I start to put in everything, that can be very intimidating to a lot of folks. And so I'm going to maybe have a master resume that does have everything I've ever done. But when I'm specifically applying to this particular position, I'm going to pick and choose the bits that actually paint the right kind of picture. So I don't need to include everything. And I think that's what we do, is we think that these resumes are a full list of everything. And so it's all got to be in there and it's got to be 3 pages. And no, it should be extremely targeted to what it is that you're trying to achieve.
That's great. Thank you so much. And then another one that I thought was pretty relevant to the age question was around graduation. So, you know, I got my degree in 1982. And they asked for dates. Is there any way to not put in dates? What do you recommend?
Well, and so apparently from what I have gathered, a lot of these systems sometimes ask for dates, but when we did this program live, I don't, if it was many years ago, we did this program live and we had some recruiters right in the audience. And from the stage, I said, I called on the recruiters. I said, what the heck? What's going on? You're telling us that you're not discriminating against people on the basis of age, and yet you're asking them their age, essentially. What the heck? And their response in that moment was, we can't see that.
I remember
there are portions of the application that end up being kind of redacted or blacked out. So it's required for data purposes, but they don't have visibility to it. And so I do want to hear from I think there was some HR folks on here, if that has changed in recent years. But that ends up being information that is not visible to the people making the decisions. And so, but it is required for them to capture.
Yeah, I agree. I do know, I remember that talk, Brenda, it was in Scottsdale. And you called those folks out, and that's all of the recruiters in the room actually agreed with that. So that some of that information is redacted. And I also saw in the chat, somebody said they recently filled out an application that asked some demographic information and it required the fill out. Which surprised me, but sometimes you could also look for there might be an other prefer not to answer. Those are options, but I would imagine if this is a applicant tracking software, that it would take that information out from the employment process.
And I've gone through, I test systems quite a bit. And so I actually went through an application process in its entirety earlier this year. And I did come across some of the demographic kind of information, and it expressly said, whether you answer this or not has zero bearing on, you know, and I believe that to be true. I believe that to be true. And so, of course, you know, folks are always going to find ways to finagle a system, but for the most part, I'm going to have some level of trust in people. And so, yeah, these systems are not, they don't make you feel very good based on what they're asking, but I want you to rest a little bit easier knowing that they can't see everything that you provide. Anything that could be perceived as a discriminating factor generally will be invisible to them.
Yeah. Brenda, thank you so much. You guys, if you just want to scroll through the chat, there's a lot of stuff on there I know you can respond to, but we have Brenda available in the breakout session after this call in about 20 minutes. Donna Tucker, we've mentioned her multiple times. She's an expert at the applicant tracking software. She wouldn't call herself an expert, but I know she is because I hear her talk and I know what she knows, or I don't know what she knows. She tells us about things she knows and she learns it constantly. So she can help, and she's in the breakout sessions. Both awesome. Both of these ladies are also certified professional resume writers and know how to make you look your best when you're going out there applying for jobs. So Brenda, again, the comments are amazing on this. Thank you so much. We just love you, and love that you're willing to have this hard conversation and do it with grace and love. Thank you so much for being here. All right, everyone, we are going to move on to our next speaker, and Anna is with us today. And Anna Brambilla has more than 20 years experience in the field of career transition. And she's been a career coach, a recruiter. She's done outplacement and relocation. And prior to that, she was in corporate finance and software project management. She has an MBA from the University of San Francisco and an undergrad in management and economics. And in 2017, she was looking for something a little different. And she attended a workshop that actually changed her life on franchise options. She really liked the concept. And so she has her own franchise license with the Entrepreneur Source, and she helps other professionals discover options outside of traditional career pathing. Throughout her career, she's focused on helping people get the job they love. And one of her favorite things to do is the matchmaker between people and resources. She loves giving ideas, suggestions, resources, and she's helped so many of our people just understand a career pathway, whether it's within this industry or outside this industry, as she's an excellent listener, coach, and facilitator. As a career ownership coach, she works hard to really understand her clients, as each person has their own dreams and skill sets. She's helped hundreds of people explore the franchise options in a safe, fun, and educational environment. And though most will not become franchise owners, they did learn about the options. And so I've learned so much about Anna over the last year and a half, and I'm excited to have her here. So please help me welcome Anna Brambilla.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Jessica. It's great to be here. And Brenda, I'm so inspired, and I'm just grateful to be following you. A little bit intimidated, I have to say, because it's hard to match that energy, but I'm going to see what I can do. So I am here. I am thrilled to be a sponsor. I'm a corporate sponsor of Career Connectors. Love what you do, and am grateful to our relationship. As I was struck, as Jessica was reading my bio, I talk actively about having more than 20 years experience. And it's an interesting dynamic because I am a coach, a career ownership coach, because I own my own business. My age and my experience is something to be celebrated. So it's kind of in a different perspective. And that's one of the things that I'm here to talk to you about, is other options that are available to you. What I love about what I do is that I'm providing people an additional resource, an additional path to explore. Absolutely encourage you to continue the full-time job search. And while you're looking, why not consider business ownership? Why not consider going that path? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this. If you can do the next slide, Bree, or I don't know if I don't have control over it, so I'll have to ask you to do it. Thanks, Bree. So think about this. What things could you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? I love this quote. Just think about that. Next slide, please. It's time to get real. I was going through my slides and I was just laughing to myself because Brenda and I did not coordinate. We did not talk about this, but it works well because let's get real. Let's get real about corporations and, frankly, what's going on. And corporations, unfortunately, do not care about you. They don't. You have to own your career. You have to own your path. And business ownership is a great way to do that, because you are in charge. And yes, I'm going to be talking about franchising. And people often say, franchises, I don't want a McDonald's, I don't want a Subway, I don't have millions of dollars to get into a franchise. And I hear you. And that's not what I'm offering. We have a portfolio of a couple hundred franchises. Only 4% have anything to do with food. And most of them are significantly less, even below 6 figures total first year investment. But anyway, so let's talk about why you might consider franchising and why Joey and Jessica approached me to talk at this particular spot at this particular time, because I'm going to be offering you an option to explore options that celebrate your age, especially, that celebrate the diversity that you bring to the table and give you an opportunity to be the kind of employer that we all want you to be, which means celebrating diversity, celebrating age, all of that stuff. Franchises are reverse ageism. They don't want the people in their 20s and 30s. They don't. If I come to a client, if I come to a franchise and say it's a great client, he's in his 20s or 30s, I'm going to have to actively encourage them. Instead, if I come to somebody who's in their 50s, 60s, even their 70s, they want to know all about my client. They want to know about the experience that you bring to the table. They want that. That's what they're looking for. So as you're looking looking at looking at your options and looking at getting that frustration, getting that you're overqualified, thank you very much. Perhaps it's time to consider franchising as an option. Next slide, please. So it's time to take off the blinders, the blindfold, It's time to think about what you can do. So I completely agree with Brenda. It's about you and taking control of your next step. That's what I'm advocating too. With franchising business ownership, you get to control that. You get to own your career. In fact, I'm going to reach out to Brenda later and get a copy of her slides. I especially love that one slide with the your plan is a straight line going up, and in reality, it's anything but. That is so accurate. And I talk to hundreds of clients every month, and they all are saying something. I had this plan. I had this idea. This is where I was going. This is what I was trying to achieve. And life doesn't happen like that. So let's go to the next slide then, please, Bray. So I'm here to talk about what are some options and how could you explore your options. Next slide, please. It's time to get selfish. And selfish is not a bad word. Selfish can be taking care of yourself and owning your reality and owning your future. That's what time it is. It's time to get selfish. Next slide, please. Own your future. You have control. Gone are the days that some of us knew, some of our parents, our grandparents, where you gave your life to a corporation. You showed up on the doorstep just after high school graduation, college graduation. As long as you kept your skills up, they were going to take care of you. Those things don't exist anymore. We all know that. They haven't existed in a long, long time. So it's up to you to own your career and own your future. Next slide, please. A huge component to visualization, however that looks like to you, a mental visual, writing it down, pictures, sounds, whatever it is. But I'm a huge believer, and studies have shown that you are much more likely to achieve that goal once you have that visualization. Next slide, please. So let's focus on what are you trying to achieve. And that's one of the main things that I do is helping my clients realize a vision for their future. What are you trying to achieve? Where do you want to be? What do you want your life to look like? And when you're working with me, we focus on 4 different categories: income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity. I'm not going to go into too much detail in the interest of time, but those are the things that we focus on. Next slide, please. Stop giving up control. Don't give your life, your career, your livelihood to somebody else. Own it. Have control. Next slide, please. Be your own hero. And by that, next slide, please. Breathing, thank you. Own your accomplishments and own your achievements. You got those by hard work. And rather than hiding them or downplaying them, own that. Next slide, please. Your career is defined by what you bring to the table and what you find are your skills and your strengths, not by anybody else. It's you, and you did that, and you got those School of Hard Knocks and learned. Embrace that, own that. Next slide, please. I talk with my clients about the battered career syndrome, and that's such an evocative title. It's such an evocative thought, the battered career syndrome. So many people are facing what I consider PTSD. And I don't mean to minimize what our amazing veterans have gone through and the PTSD that they've faced. And we're so grateful to them for their sacrifice to the country. What I mean, though, is we've all been through those awful bosses. We've all had those horrible politics. We've all been on the wrong end of the politics and not making nice with the right people. And if you've been in the corporate world for long enough, you're facing that battered career syndrome. And that's what I'm here to talk about, is some ways to get away from that. Next slide, please. So far too many people give up on their dreams of self-sufficiency. Let's explore that. Next slide. So let's unlock your potential. Next slide. By identifying your skills and your strengths. If you don't know what they are, let's work on that. If you don't know what they are, let's explore that either on your own or with me or with one of these great career coaches and resume writers. Next slide, please. So let's focus on your strengths. What are the things that you are uniquely good at? And I can guarantee you, no matter how down you're feeling about the job market, you have great skills. They may be hidden, they may not be immediately available to you because of all the things you're going through in the job market, but they are there. Next slide, please. Dangers. What is that fire in the belly, we call it? What is that? What's keeping you up at night? If I work with my clients, that's one of the first things that I ask them is what prompted the desire to look at options outside the traditional corporate world? What's looking at that? Next slide, please. And then opportunity. This is one of my favorites. What do you want to focus on? What do you hope that business ownership will help you achieve? What do you hope that franchising would help you achieve? Next slide. What got you here won't get you there. It's what we've all been there. You know the definition of an insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It ain't gonna happen. Unfortunately, that's not true anymore. The world has changed. You've changed. The job market has changed. Hiring managers have changed. And so it's time to explore different options. Next slide. So let's explore ways to get off of the hamster wheel. Let's look at ways to achieve your goals, your income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity goals. Next slide. So what's your plan? Where do you want to be? Decide where you want to go, and then let's work on a path to see if business ownership is the way to get you there. Let's go fast forward a couple of pages, please, Bree, because I want to honor the time. Yeah, one more. Okay, no, I'm sorry. I go back to create your future. There we go. So let's find a way to create your future. Find what you're trying to do. So let me give you the next slide, please, if you would, Bree, and then I'll wrap up here. So you can not be successful alone. Brenda was talking about networking and the importance of networking. So true. You can't do anything. We are not meant to be loners. We are social beings. So it's really important to look at what can you bring to the table? What are you trying to achieve? So let me go into a little bit of specifics about what I do and how I work. I am coming up on 5 years of owning my own franchise, and I'm grateful every day that I found this because I am my own boss. Full disclosure, I've drunk the Kool-Aid. I happen to think franchising is the bee's knees. I happen to think it's an incredible option for being in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that's such a crucial concept. So a franchise is a proven business model. It's something you can do again and again and again. To become a franchise takes years and several $100,000 typically. What I do is work with you, identify your vision. What are you trying to achieve? And let's see if perhaps maybe one of the vehicles of success that I have is the right fit. There's no cost to working with me, not a single penny, no obligation other than to keep an open mind. That's all there is. It's very important to keep an open mind. I can tell you story after story after story of people who came to me and said, there's no way I'm buying a franchise, and then end up buying a franchise. Or I don't want a franchise on this, or I don't want a franchise on that, or whatever it is. Let's explore. You see behind me, I have a sign that says, welcome to the safe zone. And I'm very proud of that because I provide truly a safe zone to explore your options and truly a safe place to see what's available. So I will put my contact information in the chat, and I'm sure it's also going to be, in fact, I know it's on the website. And I'll put my LinkedIn. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me. I love being able to help people. I love, if you have any questions, I do have, as Jessica mentioned, I have more than 20 years of experience in everything in career transition. Started off at Right Management Consultants, and some of you may have known them. They're one of the leading outplacement coaching companies, did recruiting, did job search coaching, all kinds of things. So happy to connect with you. And with that, I believe my time is up. And so I'm going to pass it on back. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. You can connect with her. Anna, she already dropped her information in one time, but we'll drop it in again. And so if you'd like to connect with her and just talk about this opportunity, she is really, really resourceful and just a great help to so many people. So thank you so much. We appreciate you being here and speaking today. All right, you guys, I want to go through a couple different things before we close out. Let's see, I was going to answer, there were a couple questions in the chat. Multiple people have asked us in our direct messaging me, is this webinar going to be available? Absolutely. Once we finish out today, it takes some time to, I can't remember that word, but basically download, and then Bree, our awesome event director, gets it posted as soon as she's able. So usually it's later today it's posted, but by tomorrow morning for sure, it will be up and available. And so also all of our past webinars are up there as well. And so we have ones on salary negotiation, resumes, interviews, most topics. As you're looking at career transition, we address LinkedIn. We've had a lot of questions about LinkedIn. And so all of those are available on our website as well. And so you can just go to, Bree, if you want to go to the next slide, if you just want to go to our homepage, careerconnectors.org, and then you can look at our webinars. If you have any feedback for us, please send us a note, contact@careerconnectors.org. We take all of that and we review any feedback we get for future events. The other thing we do have a whole bunch of resources available. And so, of course, we mentioned the recordings. We have a lot of social media out there, and we'd love for you guys to engage with our social media. We also have a project, a tool called the DISC assessment. And so you can take the DISC assessment at no cost. And this will help as you think about your strengths, your ideal work environment, the way you like to be managed, those kind of things are available on the DISC assessment, and you can pull and integrate some of that into your resume, and also think about it for your interviews as well. I want to thank many of our sponsors, and these are people that have trades with us, are financially supporting the organization, and really care about this program and how it supports the community. So thank you all for your support. We really, really, really appreciate it. All right, I want to talk about some of the events that are coming up. So I had mentioned we kind of do this combo thing where we do a virtual event that is content and coaching heavy. That was today. And then we also monthly, at least monthly, we also do an event. Some are in person for the Phoenix area, but some are also virtual. And so we do have a virtual one coming up. And this one's on healthcare and social assistance. These will be employers from the Phoenix area, but many of them do have remote jobs as well. So if you are not local, but you're interested in healthcare or social assistance careers, join us. We have so many great employers for this event, from Honor Health, Mayo, Banner Health. We have many social assistance organizations, government organizations, all hiring for in that healthcare industry. And so we'd love to have you guys join us for that. We are doing one by another amazing speaker. Her name is Christy Staub. Numb and Dumb, What Nobody's Telling You About Your Ailing Job Search. This one is also virtual, and that's on Thursday, August 11th. And then we're doing a finance and insurance career expo on August 25th. That one will also be virtual because there are many, many remote positions available for that industry as well. And so we all have a whole bunch of the big employers for the financial industry. And with both healthcare and finance, you will probably be surprised at the depth and breadth of types of careers available. And so it's for example, finance, we're not just talking about brokerages or mortgage people or call center people. There is everything, HR, IT, there's so many different careers. One of my favorite careers I talk about with the insurance industry is drone operator. Who knew? But of course, they use the drones to fly over when there's earthquakes, when there's, which we don't have a lot of those, but when we have damage overhead, they go in and the drones help to assess damage. And so it's actually a really cool job. So there's so many types of opportunities with these. I encourage people to come because we're going to hear from all these companies, around 20 to 25 for each of them. And then you can talk to them directly. And we're doing that through a new grant we have with AZ Careers Now. And so all of those particular events are listed on AZ Careers Now, but also our website. And so you can get there either way. And we also have an app now, kind of an app. We're working on an app, but you can go to any of the events. And on the next slide, you'll see a QR code that we're using and app.careerconnectors.org/events. But you can get to everything at careerconnectors.org. So I don't want you to have to feel like you're getting confused. Careerconnectors.org is the portal that can get you to all these events. All right, I want to thank our volunteers. We have so many people that help run this program, and you heard from some of the Resume Writers Council of Arizona. We have some coaches that are going to be joining the call here and available to meet with you at the end. If you are interested in volunteering, please log on at careerconnectors.org/volunteer, and that's where we're getting applications for our volunteer programs. Also, you guys, probably, I'm not sure if you know this, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. And so as you land into your new career, if you would consider donating and helping the person coming behind you, it would be just so great, and we greatly appreciate it. It costs us about $42 per person to run our program. And so thank you so much. We know many people are already donating. And if you are one of those, thank you so much for making this program available to so many people. And so Bree is going to jump into the breakout sessions and talk to you about how to join the breakout sessions. She's going to go through what is available. Oh, I love that, Brenda. She just jumped on and said, volunteering is just a great way to fill gaps on your resume. It's really something cool to be able to invest in your career as well. Carolyn, so you don't see the August event. That's probably the Christy Staub event. I think our marketing firm was still working on that graphic as of yesterday. And so let's see, you're right, it's not up yet. So that will be up in the next day or so. And that will be posted. Sorry about that, Carolyn. That will be available. But I want you all to know that I am praying for you, and our team is praying for you, that you do land into the career of your dreams. Thank you so much for being here. All right, Bree, off to you.
All right, so I'm going to open up the breakout rooms in just a moment. So to access them, you'll see down in your toolbar, breakout rooms. You'll then choose which one you want to join. You'll see a list, and you'll just hover over to the right-hand side. It'll say join. You can go there. It'll take you directly to the room. And then if you want to ever jump in another room, just pull up the breakout rooms again, and you can either join another room or come back to the main session. So I just opened all of the breakout rooms. Please note that one of our finance coaches is going to be on at 11. And if you need any help moving into a breakout room, just go ahead and chat us and let us know.
Awesome. Bree, do you want to go to the next slide so they can see the list? And so go ahead, if you are one of our breakout room hosts, go ahead and go into your room, click the join button. And then our attendees, thank you guys, can go ahead and start to go in there. Let's see, great. Okay, and I think I haven't seen Nicole. Oh, good, Nicole's in there. Okay. And I don't know if Bruce has joined the call yet. But you guys, so our resume writers, our speakers, and our LinkedIn coaches there. So feel free to open up your options at the bottom, the breakout rooms, and then there'll be a blue join, and you can go ahead and join that. Well, I don't know, some people are not, or some people are having some problems. Okay, wonder why it's not showing for you guys.